The Nazism did not take ideas from Sanskrit. They took a distorted idea. They distorted. So there's a big difference between, saying I'll take your idea and do something bad and accuse you, then you get accused that you sourced it, versus that I actually distorted, I actually twisted and shifted your idea, and then I did something bad. So the real reason is nothing to do, it starts 100 years before Hitler. You should start a story in the beginning. The discovery that Sanskrit was very close to European languages was very well received by Germans in particular, because they were looking for a prehistory for themselves. Every major country in Europe had an old narrative about its glory, which they taught to their children to be proud. So the French were the successors of the Renaissance. The great Renaissance, they were the current successors. So that's what they taught, that they teach the whole history of the ancient stuff and all that, Latin and all that stuff, and then it comes to Renaissance, and we the French people are the successors of that. That was their grand narrative. The English taught we are the empire. That's who we are. The sense of self is we are the empire. So like that, Spain had great history of the sailing and discovery, America, all that kind of stuff they could talk about. So Germany had nothing. Germans were known in European textbooks as barbarians. You know that. Germans were known until around 1800, they were taught in German textbooks that history is history of barbarians. The people who had been destructive, they really had no past of glory. To create a unified Germany out of many small nations, out of many small kingdoms, required a narrative. Exactly like India needs a grand narrative to be together. We better have one. So to create that grand narrative, there was a lot of struggle going on. Are we Christian? Are we who are we? Is it racial? Is it religious narrative? But we need a unifying narrative for Germany. And that is when this whole thing was introduced, that we are the Sanskrit people, because it's very close to our language. So we must have been those people. It couldn't have been those Indians. How the heck could they have done all this? All those texts and all the great things came out of our ancestors. And now we know our prehistory, we have a grand narrative. So to give the German people an ancient grand narrative, the appropriation of Sanskrit was a very important device. So this you have to understand. I've explained this in Breaking India and other places. So the creation of Germans, patriotism, chauvinism, back in 1800s, this is a century before Hitler, starts with this appropriation, misappropriation of Sanskrit and Sanskrit texts. And we glorify them because they also praised it, but they praised it as their past. They praised it, it's like I steal your stuff and I keep praising it as something my grandfather did. That painting I actually took from your house, but I have called it my grandfather's painting. He did it. So obviously I'll praise it, right? So the praise is, you have to understand, the praise comes from where? Okay. So this whole German Indology is based on that.